Judge Janine, Kamala Harris seems to forget she's in office. Judge Janine is here to put on a clinic. A clinic about what, mind you? Civility. A clinic on how to present yourself. Judge Janine is literally like the one person that is more visibly barred out than Kamala Harris used to be. You are not allowed to blast Kamala Harris. You're always out of your mind. You're so angry and slurring your words because you're Judge Janine.
Her stance on some top issues. The vice president claiming at a rally that she's actually tougher on the border than Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, by the way, this narrative deserved line of attack from Republicans. Yeah, I told you this was going to happen yesterday, and they're already fucking clamping on this shit. And they should. It would be stupid for them not to.
Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk.
Is Harris doing everything you feared? Yes. Yes, she is. She is. She came out in front of a Georgia audience and got them to cheer for a right-wing anti-immigrant policy, that she was going to be far more aggressive on the border than Donald Trump, who doesn't take the border issue seriously. It is so bad, and it spells trouble. It spells trouble for Kamala Harris in general, but more importantly than this election cycle, it spells trouble for America's future as we are bouldering towards a fascist future at an alarming clip.
Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem.
And this comes as anonymous campaign officials are telling the New York Times that Harris all of a sudden supports fracking, wants to increase border funding, does not want to require selling assault weapons back to the government, and no longer supports a single-payer health insurance program. But Harris might have a hard time rebranding herself as a moderate because of these past statements.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. There's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
What would you do about the millions of, specifically, assault weapons that are already in circulation?
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
You support the Medicare for All bill. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it.
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Jesse, I was thinking today about how the media has tried, and Democrats have tried to superglue.
Law, isn't this good for moderates who somewhat care about the border but aren't racist? Brother, what are you talking about? In the year 2020, when Joe Biden was running to the left of Donald Trump's border policies that were unimaginably cruel, he, on certain polls, was defeating Donald Trump on the issue of immigration, but on many polls, he was trailing behind Donald Trump by like 10 points, sometimes 15 points. Joe Biden, in the last poll conducted on the issue of immigration against Donald Trump in 2024, when he was running on a right-wing slant on the border, claiming that, yes, this is a national security problem, and basically running with Donald Trump's 2020 agenda items, building the wall, included in the border bill that he was presenting to Congress, was trailing behind Trump 30 points. There has never been a proven, resilient, sticking point for the Democratic Party when they turn around and fucking capitulate the right-wing framing on right-wing hysteria, okay? Whether it be crime and funding the police, or whether it be the issue of immigration. You have to understand this. Democrats, for some weird reason, don't understand it. My fear with Kamala Harris was also that she is very malleable and she's not very strong in terms of her like ideological commitment to any sort of issue. Having said that, this presented an option. Maybe she would be influenced by unions and maybe move in the right direction, stay the course, influenced by Joe Biden, actively championing progressive legislation with respect to the economy, of course. I thought maybe she would do that, but I was fearful that they would call her a woke, socialist, Marxist, much worse than Joe Biden, and that she would immediately get scared and turn around and recenter her focus to the political center, or what they think is the political center. Your concerns on Kamala basically echo a 2008 Obama rerun? No, it's worse than that, because Obama in 2008 was still uncompromising when he was running. He, of course, immediately switched his positions as soon as he assumed the office. But when he was running as a progressive champion, whereas Kamala Harris is not done running yet, and she already is retriangulating her campaign positions at a time when the only thing that was good about the Biden reelection was unyielding support for a progressive agenda in terms of the economy. No matter what happened, he just kept sticking to the message. He was not a good messenger, and he barely could stick to the message. He would flub quite a bit, but the message was still there. He was like, no, we're doing rent caps. Whereas Kamala Harris, fearful, exhibiting that old school Democratic Party instinct, I am afraid, going to immediately fucking retriangulate and act like she is not a champion of progressive causes at all. And actually, she's a total moderate, and it's a good thing. And that sucks.
The Project 2025 project to Donald Trump, even though he says he didn't have anything to do with it. He doesn't meet the people. He doesn't like them. He's disavowed it. But the media is basically erasing her past statements and saying that she doesn't have to deal with any of them.
I'm used to it. This could last forever.
Yeah.
I sometimes go from thinking it could be a landslide, and then the next day I wake up and I'm saying, oh my God, it's going to be a nail biter. Because she hasn't done a single interview since she's been the nominee. She hasn't done a real interview since May. And why would she do an interview next week? Why wouldn't she just wait?
You and Republicans are underestimating her majorly? Wait, what? Underestimating her? I've never said that, like, I think Kamala Harris is going to be a certain type of way. I'm simply saying what I've seen thus far with the amount of with the messaging coming from her campaign, you know, the leaks of the New York Times, the capitulation that she's already leaned into. I'm just looking at what she's putting out there for people to read. And I don't like what I see. It reminds me of old school Democratic Party incompetence.
Until the convention, get the pop from the VP pick.
Okay, so you don't like what you see. Who fucking cares? I mean, clearly you do.
Get the pop from the convention. All of a sudden it's September, and you haven't answered anything. You haven't been asked about your flip-flops. You haven't been asked about your cover-ups. You haven't been asked who you are. And she could get away with it. It's the same hiding Biden. Now it's hiding Harris. And now it's just a...
You know what's really funny about this, by the way? I'm almost certain the same people that are now yelling at me for criticizing Kamala were most likely the same people that were pushing for Biden till the very end. They just have bad instincts. That's it. Like, they don't really think. They just toe the party line. They were riding with Biden till the very end, and now they're riding with Kamala till the very end. It's awesome.
Sprint until November. Can she do this for 96 days? Probably. The media is not clamoring to get an interview. They want to keep her hidden. So this could go on forever, and I'm not concerned, Harold, but...
Yeah, no, they're not fucking hiding Kamala Harris. She just did it. You're literally showing her at the fucking massive 10,000 person auditorium rally that she just conducted yesterday.
You look at.
I'm paying attention.
I think this is interesting. This is what she said she would do on day one if she wins, Judge.
Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents.
So bad.
Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents.
The one that I wanted said, on day one, I will work to take on price gouging and bring down costs. Okay, as if she's not part of the Biden-Harris administration that caused the inflation in the first place.
Well, you know, and that's exactly the problem. She seems to forget that she is currently in office. And I find it so incredibly insulting that she says, when I am president, I will work to solve the problem of immigration, or the sound that we just heard. Are you kidding me? You were the border czar. And the fact that big tech or the mainstream media is playing games with the Democrat Party again, and don't you ever think they're going to change? And they're pulling out all indications of her being the border czar. I mean, you can't just change on a dime, Harold. You know, it's one. Let me finish.
Sure.
It's one thing to, you know, say I'm for this and I'm for that in a debate, and they should debate. But she's got to sit down with someone and explain. Harold, you want to attribute to her some brilliant understanding as to why she evolved on the issues.
I can't recall. What did I say yesterday that Republicans would immediately say? What did I say immediately yesterday when she unveiled her immigration package? That Republicans would be like, dude, you were tasked with dealing with a border for 4 fucking years. No, she wasn't. She was the VP. I'm telling you right now, I promise you, I know a little bit more on this issue than you do, okay? You can Google it before you write stuff in the chat. Kamala Harris was tasked with dealing with the border. That's why we have that famous do not come emote in the chat, where she went to Guatemala and told Guatemalans, do not come. That was one of the first actions that she took. In 2021, Joe Biden put her on border duty. She was declared the border czar. Okay, this is a big weakness for Kamala Harris. I said yesterday that as soon as she said, I'm going to fight real hard for the fucking border, I'm going to do the right-wing border shit, that Republicans would turn around and be like, you were the border czar. That's what fucking Joe Biden put you down as. You were tasked with handling immigration. You fucked it up for 4 years. Now you're going to fucking start acting different and act like you care about the border, you care about immigrants. You're a liar. Even you recognize the border is bad now. Donald Trump has been good on the border. That's his major fucking role for the past 8 years, as a matter of fact. Why would anybody trust you? Why would anybody believe you?
You mentioned Ukraine. The only thing I can think of is when she was in Ukraine was when they said to her, will you be taking any of the refugees from Ukraine? She was like, bleh, 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 bleh. And then the president of Poland started to respond, and she says, a friend in need is a friend indeed. I mean, if you have a substantive reason you can give me for changing your position, I'll hear you. But otherwise, you're lying like Joe Biden came into office as a moderate when he was a progressive. The Trojan horse was full of progressives. They backed into the Oval Office and they changed this country.
She's so fucking hammered, dude. She's sloshed every time. I do agree that I think she needs to focus on other policies, not on immigration. She should never bring up immigration. Voluntarily bringing up immigration, unimaginable dumb shit, okay? Dumb shit. Especially because, like, even for the reactionaries, okay? Right now, Biden's incredibly restrictive policies on the border have already cut immigration dramatically. So it's not even a fucking point of contention at this moment. Just, if you're going to talk about immigration, talk about how Donald Trump is psychotic. That's it. He wants mass deportation. They're waving mass deportation banners at the RNC. What are we talking about here? That is insanely cruel. That's the only thing you should say.